sure to answer all your questions. And I am your host, Nelly Moremi. I am so excited for you guys. You don't know what we have lined up for you today, so you can touch that dial. And we have Janice in the house. Janice, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you feeling this evening?
I'm feeling good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence. So guys, this is Janice. She's going to be talking about HR tech business and everything that you need to know about employment and what you need to also do. So Janice, maybe you can start by a brief introduction of, because Nikosha, they want to know who you are.
Yeah.
You can start with a brief introduction of who is Janice.
Yeah. So my name is Janice Ntoimiamba. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Hafinen, which is an HR tech platform, a business, a software that allows businesses to manage their HR processes end to end, from recruitment, onboarding, to payroll, performance management, up to the point when you are actually saying goodbye to your employee because they're leaving and you need to offboard them. Yeah.
So basically that is Janice.
Yes.
But now you've told us more of what you do. But now we want to know, where is Janice from? When was she born? Now, so that tukikuja kwa biashara now we see tunaona Janice and you're like, yeah, we know Janice sasa.
Okay, you want to go back to the roots.
We want, because audience wanataka kujua, this girl, where is she from?
Yeah, surprisingly, I'm from Meru, which most people don't usually expect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Too.
Okay,
yes.
That's good to know. Yeah, I was born and raised in Meru County, and I've had the privilege of also living in like different parts of Kenya and even going outside the country, within Africa mostly, because I did my uni years in Ghana. So I'm also a very outdoorsy person. Usually, like on weekends, you'll probably find me on a hike or something like that. But I love basically, and generally, I'm an entrepreneur. Is how I tend to describe myself, because I love, I love the process of creating and helping businesses and other people to solve their problems. Yeah.
So in Meru, you studied in Meru.
Yes.
Ama you came to Nairobi.
I studied, well, my primary school years were in Meru. Then I did high school in Nairobi, Precious Blood. Then I did university in Ghana.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So now we know who Janice is.
Yes.
And you're telling us that you are in HR tech business.
Yes.
And you're a co-founder at Affinen.
Yes.
Maybe for someone who's hearing HR tech business for the first time, hawajawahi sikia kitu kama hiyo. They've had HR, human resource management, but they've not had HR tech business. Can you expound that?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way in which I would explain HR tech, it's basically the technology behind HR, in the old times, a lot of things were done on paper. So you would say then the only thing that technology could allow was probably, for things like job adverts, you would put them maybe on a newspaper. And then you have people apply because they've read the newspaper. Then obviously now as times have kind of progressed, we have more and more like digital tools. So there's different kinds of HR tech because it depends on what you are handling and at what stage. There are tools that are, for instance, when you're doing recruitment, there are tools that are for recruitment only, and they may be specialized on just recruitment. And let's say like in our case now as Affinen, you'll find now like our platform has, maybe it has recruitment, but now it has other parts of HR as well. Then there are tools when it comes to maybe like for people who are applying for jobs, there are tools that are also used to kind of help them to improve their CVs or to kind of, just make sure they're becoming better at the application process. So those also do fall in a way under HR technology. Although usually when you're talking about like the HR technology, you're mostly focusing on like the management side of it when people are already within the company, right? Or when you're trying to bring them into the company. So now like tools for recruitment, will fall under HR technology, tools to manage payroll, you know, because you want to pay your people and you also don't want KRA to be at your doorstep because you did your calculations wrongly. So the tools you use to make sure you're doing all that, you know, or to even generate things like pay slips, then performance tools as well, because, you know, you want to be able to assess performance management within a company. How are people doing? How is performance appraisal being done? So the tools you use for that. So sometimes it's separate tools. In a lot of cases, it's also like just one system that is just able to do everything all at once. But yeah, even lesser like things like leave, right? When people are going on leave, you know, how is it being done? So are we doing it manually, or do we have maybe like an application where people can just automatically apply it and then be able to even see like their leave balance? You know, how are we taking attendance? So I've seen, let's say, like in cases where there's biometric systems, sometimes you can even connect that to a tool to make sure, let's say, like if you pay your workers based on hours, then you know when they clocked in, you know when they clocked out, you know, so all those things will fall under HR management because they allow you to be able to kind of really be very strategic about your people and how well they're being managed. Yeah.
So what you're telling us, Janice, is that you have come up with a tool that helps us manage employees and just do all that you have stated without actually having to be there, but there are systems that are running that make sure that you're effectively doing that.
Yeah. So in our case, you know, when we were developing Hafinen, the platform, we wanted to make sure, especially SMEs and growing businesses, have like one unified platform where they can be able to manage all these things, right? For a lot of maybe like big multinational enterprise businesses, they're able to afford having multiple different tools. But you know, when you're still growing, you would want to be able to have all that within one system. And so, you know, in our case, yes, we developed now a platform that allows businesses to be able to manage their recruitment processes over there, payroll in one place, performance, leave and attendance, all of it. And not really just that, you know, like for me, I tend to see HR like as a very strategic tool for businesses to actually grow. So we do consider the platform to be a lot more of like a people intelligence kind of platform, because then, you know, when you have all this data unified, you kind of are able to see also where maybe you're making mistakes and the things that you need to fix as a company is growing, and even in the decisions you're making. You know, if you've promoted someone, all that information also stays within the system, right? So like you're kind of able to tell the trajectory of your employees, and you're able to sort of use that to, you know, to design how your people process it, or like how your people should grow.
Because also in the system, I'm sure there are key performance indicators that show you over time that this is what this employee has been doing. And now you know. Because I feel like for a human, Ama, when you didn't have these tools, it's easy for you to forget. And yes, records are good, but sometimes if it's not systematized, it's easy for you to pull out maybe a record of an employee from 2019. So with that a system, I get why it's very important and very convenient. So Janice, I'm going to ask you, what a niche did you see in the marketplace? Because I think HR tech is something that is being introduced, like so many people do not know about it, and that's why we are talking about it today. So what niche did you see, especially in the Kenyan market, and you decided, I want to fill this?
So I think I'll start with the fact.
Unatazama Mwangaza TV, tumaini lako.
Welcome back. We're so excited. Thank you for staying with us till this second segment, guys. And Janice is still with us in the room. So Janice, we are back.
Thank you.
You're a human resource manager, and also you're merging that with technology.
Yes.
And I know you're
mostly in the HR tech space.
HR tech space. And I know you've done so much of recruitment and employment. And I know our viewers here are like so excited to learn why maybe they never got that job and why, like, unajua kuna watu they're even blaming their village people wako like mimi aki sipatangi. And I feel like also you can get exhausted with applications and you get so discouraged and uko like me acha ni chill kidogo, labda space yangu acha ni kufungua biashara. But actually maybe there's something you're doing wrong. So I want you to tell us, Janice, what is the first thing that you notice on a CV? Like ukipata tu hivi, what is the first thing that you look at, and what are you looking for as an employer ama as someone who's looking for human resource?
Okay. I mean, I'll speak because I mean there's a difference between being in recruitment and being in HR, right? So those are two, same department, different kind of work. So, and I have been in the recruitment space, and then now the HR tech space, i.e. now creating tools that help businesses to manage all these processes. So I will speak from that aspect. So, from a recruitment perspective of like, what do I look at in the first 10 seconds of a CV? Honestly, it's the keywords. If I'm looking to hire a manager who has 10 years of experience, does it say somewhere manager? Does it say somewhere like I have 10 years of experience maybe in something? So mostly the keywords, those will matter on whether or not, because remember, if someone has to look at 100 CVs, as humans, we are not built to consume that much information, and so we filter out things based on what is important. So if my main goal is to find someone who has 10 years of experience, I'll most probably, let's not say experience, because that is subjective sometimes. Let's talk about the manager aspect. I need someone who has been a manager before in a specific role. So and then if your CV lands on my table and it just says analyst, 2 years of experience, I'm definitely not looking at anything else. So sometimes it's really that simple. In the first 10 seconds, I just want to see the main things that I'm looking for. The key things, and usually there's like the key things that matter. There's the non-negotiables, and so even when you're applying, you need to understand what are the non-negotiables of this job. And now, do I meet those?
Do I meet what they need? Because also there's a say in Kenya that you just apply.
I would still say like just apply, but also be realistic. If a company is looking to hire an MD, they're not hiring, and you send in your CV when you just fresh graduate for an MD role. It's not gonna work, especially if it shows you have no experience doing anything. While on the other hand, you might be a fresh graduate, but you've probably been running a business while in campus that probably made like 10 million. I might consider you. You are a fresh graduate, but like it shows, you founded a business, you've done all this. So it's all relative to like what's the experience and what's needed for the role.
So it makes you more eligible. So in your app, you told me that you have an app right?
Yes.
So do you have systems that help recruitment, and how do you work around that?
So we have, and this is for employers now, we have a system that allows them to be able to manage the recruitment process, right? So the whole hiring process, when you're looking for people, you're able to kind of see, you're able to manage from the moment when you're getting applications from people, you're able to manage them within the platform. You're able to receive those applications. You're able to kind of see who is good and who is not. You can filter out based on the keywords and everything. Which then also again it allows you to deal with people who are more qualified for the role. And it also allows you to again retain that data, so that maybe if you have an issue with an employee down the line, you're able to come back to the recruitment process and be like, where did we go wrong when we were doing this?
So it helps you so that you pick the best, but also you have options. Because I feel like when you're doing it manually, sometimes you will not have so much options, because you can even tend to forget that these people actually applied.
You will forget, especially, and I mean, as I've said, I've been in the recruitment space as well. I think one of the main things that I've actually done in my background has been recruitment. And so and I've done it the old-fashioned way where you have people send in CVs to your email. Once you have 100 CVs in your inbox, already it's overwhelming. You're already losing, like, you know, besides people who are applying, what's the other important information that is kind of, you know, disappearing in there? So usually in those cases, you find that you just go for if the first person kind of meets like 80% of the qualifications, you're more likely to go for that without looking at the other options.
Overlook all other things.
Yes. Whereas the system would actually be able to kind of look at everything before deciding these are the people we should shortlist.
Yeah. Do you think that this is the time that actually people should be doing this? Because you're talking about this and I'm like, wow, this is so convenient and this is so profound. Do you think that companies really actually in this 2026 should start gravitating more towards using, you know, HR technology?
Yes, especially if you're looking to take advantage. One, stay very compliant, because again, having systems that automate a lot of things within either the government side of things or like the policy side of things, then you kind of are able to, you know, make sure like a lot of that information is always accurate, which means you will never have to fight with people like KRA because you know you didn't submit some pay. And also then, because again, on the other hand, if you're trying to take in this era where you know you'll post a job on LinkedIn and you have like 1,000 applications, and remember also sometimes some of the applications that will come through are fake. Or like the ones who are not qualified at all. You really also want to make sure that the humans in your company are not entirely overwhelmed by work that they should not be doing, filtering things out that you know is not as important. Instead, you know, you kind of narrow that to like maybe once we have like the candidates were like these are the top 10 or the top 15 that we want to talk to, then this is where we introduce a human being to talk to them. Because you will always need a human being. Will always need a human being. I think one of the issues is people tend to feel like maybe the whole process is just robotic and systemized. It's not always the case. But then on the other hand, there are things that need to be systemized. Like if I need to send like I'm sorry you didn't get your job. You didn't get a job. And I'm sending that to 1,000 people. That is a waste of company resources. Automate that. It's nice to be cordial to people and make sure that they are updated on the application. But if it's especially the I'm sorry's, it's okay if you automate it. There's still ways of automating and still keeping it human, right? You can still say like, dear Janice, unfortunately you did not get the role. It's still possible to do that.
And I think someone is watching us and they're like, is this system really accurate? For someone who's doubting. And I think for us Gen Z, okay, I'm not being generation biased, but it's easy for us to gravitate more towards technology because we have been born in it. But for someone who has done, who is in their 50s, 60s, they have done HR management manually. They have done, and they're like, these systems just don't work. How would you tell them? How would you like prove to them that actually this thing works and it's accurate?
So yes, the generational issue is always, the generational differences are always like a problem. I think, like, you know, depending on who the person is, sometimes you kind of, they are forced to change by the culture, right? Because either the company has realized like at this point we need you know, we need people, we need systems, and their own way is not going to work. So if, for instance, a company has already switched to like, we are not going to keep our files anymore because storage is expensive, and it's much cheaper to have that information on a cloud system, then they will go for that. And then now the 60-year-old will unfortunately be forced to face that reality in that situation. But I think also, you have to be very flexible when it comes to like the time and the, you know, the fact that things have changed. And so like it's much I feel like for a lot of, let's say like Gen Zs now, if you walk into an organization and they're just doing everything on paper, that might be good grounds for quitting.
Yeah, true.
Like you guys are taking back to the analog era. We left that already. So it's also a matter of understanding like what age you're living in and how important is it for you to be able to keep up.
Yeah.
And especially also because remember, the more things become systemized, the more global it's also becoming. So sometimes also you're trying to attract talent that is very global minded. And so they expect you to have the global standards that you're expecting them to bring into the company. So it's also a matter of understanding that. Yeah.
Janice, you're a human resource manager. Yes. And I want you to help maybe a director ama a CEO somewhere. You know, there's been this beef in companies such as Gen Z, our funny Gen Z. I don't know how you handle that in your company, but what would you tell Ama, where does the harmony come in between the Gen Z and the millennials and the boomers? How do you manage that in your company, for instance?
Yeah. Okay, so I am from like an employer perspective, and that's the main one that I can speak about. I feel like, because I've seen a lot of, you know, when people talk about this is, oh, I'm struggling with Gen Zs in my company and all that, and I look at like some of the things and I'm like, to be honest, it feels like more of a struggle of boundaries as opposed to like a struggle of even generations. And so there might, in past generations, there were behaviors that were probably swept under the carpet, whereas the younger people are more willing to call that out and more willing to be like, yeah, we need to address this.
Yeah, and that is not okay.
Yes, that is not okay. So I think, but generally human beings behave the same way. So I usually say like within the company, you tend to have, people will fall under, you know, the behavioral categories are very easy to put into very easy, like I would say like just around like 4 categories, to be honest, where you have people who care about the company and they are willing to kind of challenge things in order to make sure like the company is improving. I think have people who care but they'd rather not say anything because maybe they're protecting their jobs or whatever
and their image.
Yes. Then you have people who are just, they will challenge everything but they don't really care. They just want to challenge. Yeah,
they just want to vote, to be heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then there are people who just don't care and they won't say anything.
Yeah.
And
Borom nanilipa.
Borom nanilipa kind of nini. And so being able to, and for all human beings, it's just those 4 categories. The main one, you need to be able to figure out, especially for people who care, you know, you want to work with people who care, but they also now work towards making sure they are challenging things that need to be challenged properly, right? So usually the main problems just come from, for instance, Gen Zs now being able to challenge things. So they might challenge everything. In some cases they don't care, in other cases they actually care, which is why they're challenging. But then you find that the people who are receiving the challenges are not necessarily open to being challenged. And now that is just a problem, I would say, of ego, especially if it's a challenge that needs to, if it's a question that needs to be asked. So it's more of, I would say in a lot of ways, like, you know, are the communication skills there? Do these people care about the company in order to be questioning this? And is it a valid question? In that case, maybe let's work on making sure like it's being communicated properly and those things are being improved. Instead of labeling it as a Gen Z issue or a this issue. It's more of like, is your company actually sort of, you know, ensuring there's like a right place for people to be able to provide the value that you want them to provide to the company. If that's not the case, then you need to address that. Yeah.
And also, I think you've mentioned something very profound, that let's not label things as Gen Z issues.
Yeah. They're non-Gen Z issues. They're probably issues that have been there. It's just that maybe somebody didn't care enough to ask the right questions. And if anything, I would say, for me as an employer and as someone, you know, I honestly, as someone who runs a startup, I appreciate when I have employees who question. If anything, like one of the biggest things for us that now we feel like we struggle with is finding people who are willing to, you know, ask questions and at the same time do their work, right? Because I want you to care about the work you're doing enough to be able to come to me and be like, Yeah, I think there's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because you're helping me innovate in the company,
Yeah,
right?
true.
As an employer, that is something that I should be able to appreciate. But I think it's also important to kind of note that the dynamics you will have maybe with the founder of a company might be very different from the dynamics you'll have with like someone who's maybe in a managerial role.
Yeah, true.
Just as a C-suite.
Yeah, like you have to differentiate the, power dynamics.
Yeah, sometimes the power dynamics may be different because also maybe the other people are also trying to protect their interests, which might not be aligned with your interests. So like in those cases, you need to figure out like if maybe it's going to be a problem, then is this someone else that I should be speaking to? Should I bring someone else into this conversation, or should I just be applying somewhere else? Yes.
So, Janice, I know you've been in the space. You've not told us for how long.
Yeah.
Maybe you can say that. So now the next question.
4 or 5 years now.
4 or 5 years in the startup space.
Yes.
But now, what about like in HR, recruitment, and all that?
3 years.
So makes it like 7.
Yeah. No, it's all in total 4 or 5 years.
Okay, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So in the 4 or 5 years, I'm sure like you found a common challenge.
Yes.
That companies go through when it comes to human resource.
Yeah.
What would you say it is?
It stems from the same kind of mindset you've spoken about, which is I would say the conflict between people and like the interests of the employers and interests of employees, which is mostly as a result of the companies generally just not having a HR strategy or a very poor HR strategy, to be honest. So the main one you find is maybe you have maybe whether it's performance issues that people don't know how to deal with. The biggest one when I speak to founders is they don't know how, at the very beginning, they don't know maybe how to fire people or when to fire people.
Yeah. And it's hard actually to fire people.
It is hard to fire people because you care. At the same time, it's a skill, I would say. It's a skill that you learn.
You have to harness.
Yeah, you have to harness it. But it's more of, especially when you have to kind of differentiate between, and that is why like having a good HR strategy allows you to be able to differentiate between when is the right time for this person to be let go, and when is the right time for me to be able to offer them like a performance improvement plan or something like that. Which is why, again, having a system, because now you have all this data, and your employee also has the data. So there's transparency in how we are dealing with each other and what we expect, what we expect from each other. So we are not lying to each other.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true. Because also when it comes to manually managing people, there's the aspect of biasness.
Yes.
That sometimes we're just humans.
Yeah.
HR can, you feel like, but now when there's a system in place,
and when there's a process, yes, and there's a process that you're like, this is how things are done.
Yeah, like we can actually sit and say, on Monday you logged in at 12 p.m.
Yeah, where were you? Between 8 and 12.
And in the first 3 months of the year, haukuwahi patikana, and we tunatoa data na pia anatoa data. So it gets easier. Yeah,
it becomes easier to be able to know where the issues are. Yeah.
You're a founder, Janice.
Yes.
Maybe you can talk to a founder outside. I'm a viewer who's starting to, to do startup, to be a startup founder.
Yes.
I know like the journey has taught you and you have learned a lot. Maybe even as we wind up and as you tell us your parting shot, what would you tell maybe a young woman or a young man who's looking to be a startup founder?
I would say embrace failure. I think the biggest barrier for most people is maybe failing once and being like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Starting a company honestly is like raising a child. You will make mistakes. You learn throughout the journey, and so you have to be open enough to be kind to yourself in the process, to keep coming back even though maybe things are not working out. It's kind of like just doing an experiment until you see what works. Then when you find what works, then you kind of now scale it up to something else.
So give yourself grace and stay consistent.
Give yourself grace and stay consistent even when you're failing, and be delusional. A little spice, not too delusional, but a little spice of delusion combined with a good view of reality. It's the perfect perfect recipe for an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and believing in yourself. I think that's what you're saying. Because you also want people to believe in what you're bringing to the table, and they can't do that.
Yes.
If every time you're told to talk about your app, you're stammering. They won't believe you.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Janice. What's your parting shot to Kimaliza? Maybe there's a question that you are hoping I will ask Nasjoliza. Talk about that. Give us your parting shot and tell us where we can find you, your social media pages, and even your location.
Okay.
Like we can.
Yeah. So I mean, I think you had asked about what question did I expect you to ask that you did not? I feel like you've covered a lot. You had asked about something like within the risks of businesses using like maybe HR technology a lot, and as much as I'm a big advocate for people using HR technology, but I always say like you need to have a human at the end of the system, and decisions still have to have like the human aspect of it into it. Technology and data helps you in making decisions, but like you have to know when to bring the human being into the equation. There are no processes that are meant to replace every aspect of the human process.
So
they are meant
people
to make
feel insecure about
they're meant to make the process much better, not entirely, sideline humans. So, a big part is if you're an organization, still make sure there's a human at the end of the process, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with human beings. We are along Lower Kabete Road. Our social media pages is just all Hafinen, or Hafinen on X, on Facebook, on Instagram it's Hafinen HQ, on LinkedIn we are mostly active, it's Hafinen. For me it's just Janice. So remember, I don't think the other one people will be able to spell, but like if you're able to find Hafinen, you can find me. Thank
you so much, Janice, for coming. We have learned a lot. We're so excited. We have learned a lot. And thank you for gracing us with your presence. And we're looking forward to working with you. And I'm sure even our viewers have heard, and they will be reaching out to you to, know how they can gravitate towards HR tech business. So guys, this has been the Business Spotlight on another beautiful Monday, guys. We are so excited. Thank you for staying with us till this far. We still have Janice in the room, but to Liza, whatever has a beginning, we have to end. So guys, if you want to feature, if you want to be here maybe next week or next month, send an email to avanelli@gmail.com, or you can text us on our Facebook pages, YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok at mwangazatv and say, I want to feature in the Business Spotlight, and then I'm going to reach out to you. We're going to plan. I'm going to ask you some questions, know if you're eligible, and then you're going to come. So guys, this is the end of the Business Spotlight today. We are so excited. Thank you for staying with us. We love you so much. I have been your host, Nelly Moremi. Till next Monday, 7:45 p.m. Stay blessed. I love you so much. Bye.